Clear.
Cool,
All right,
cool.
let's get this party started. All right. Today, Saturday, November 9th, 2019, we are so privileged to have my pal Harold Tavarez pop on in to talk to us. We've been trying to make this happen for a little bit. Technology issues have been trying to stop us. We're overcoming that shit. Harold is here today to crack an egg of knowledge all over our heads and let this knowledge just run down here. Uh,
Man.
Harold has a background, extensive background in sales in a variety of industries. Harold is also a military veteran and has a successful YouTube channel called Millennial Empowerment. And Harold is here to share as much value with us and whatever secrets he deems us worthy of here. How are you today, Harold?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Good to have you on. And
Finally,
of course,
finally.
I know, right? And of course, I can't fail to mention my lovely lady, my other half back here, hanging out. She's always got my back. So she's keeping me on track here, make sure I'm not slipping up. All right, Harold, let's start with sales. Sales is a big aspect of what our conversations consist of. What are you
Yep.
currently selling these days?
So currently, right now, I work for two companies. One is a landscaper model here in the Las Vegas area. That's where I live now. Moved here about a year ago
Vegas.
Hmm.
and commenced with a company that sells artificial turf. So artificial turf is huge over here because it never rains. We may get like 5 to 4 inches of rain a year and just never rains here. It's so dry. So maintaining your landscape and grass is really it's really a large investment. People spend three, four, five, $600 a month on their water bill alone just for watering so frequently if they want well maintained grass. So I found these guys. I was in Indy. They were just starting out. They've been here for about 6 months, and anyways, I just learned the ropes of landscaping. That's something that was completely new for me. And they do artificial turf, pavers, and rocks, basically any type of dry landscape, since we are the desert climate here.
I
And another
imagine
company, go ahead.
I imagine that was a surprising industry for you to stumble into coming from the Dallas Fort Worth area. Probably had you even heard of artificial turf like that before?
No, I didn't know anything about it. I just thought that it was only in football fields in high school or NFL uses it sometimes in some of their fields and maybe the MLB, but I was just like, what is artificial turf?
Right,
No idea. I am not sold into this at all.
right.
No one's gonna buy this. This is a huge waste of time, but I gotta do what I gotta do because I just moved to Vegas.
Right. I mean, in the beginning, you were just trying to make ends meet with whatever opportunity you could. But now,
Yep.
when we've talked, you seemed a little excited about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's totally different. When I first started, it was just a huge learning curve for me. Because you think like it's just plastic. It's plastic grass. Who wants to buy plastic grass? And it's one of those things where, if you're operating from, where you lived in the past in Dallas, Texas, where it rains frequently, you're like, oh, well, it rains. I'm paying like, I don't know, $100, 150 a month for my water bill. That's reasonable enough. But then you come here to Vegas and people are spending 3 to 4 times the price that everyone else pays in the US because it's just so dry and hot. So it took me a little bit to wrap my head around that, around that pain point that there is value in artificial grass and it's not just flat out fake grass. There is a lot of technology basis to it. There's a lot of convenience to it, et cetera, et cetera. Once you get into the nuances of it, you start to see that the consumers here in this market, they absolutely love it.
Hmm.
It's insane. They love it. They love the feel of it. They like the convenience of it.
I was
And
gonna say maintenance free seems very appealing. I mean, I assume it's maintenance free for the most part.
no, yeah, I mean, and it's pet friendly. Dogs can poop and pee perfectly fine. Kids can roll on it. And there's a lot of special advancements that they've done on this. It's really over the top, man. It's really over the top. When turf first came out, it had a really bad intro to the marketplace, but it has really revolutionized some things. It's kind of had it's moved up to a lot of stuff. If that makes sense. It's just changed in a
Love
good,
it
better
though.
way.
The industry has evolved.
Exactly, that's the word.
Okay.
Industry has evolved
Hey,
drastically.
good
So
morning, Brandon Nader, the Destroyer. Good to see you in here, buddy. How are you? We've got our buddy Harold Tavarez on. He's, as we said, he's cracking the egg of knowledge on us here when it comes to sales, artificial turf. And I also know I met Harold. I suppose it bears mentioning, guys, that Harold and I met through a networking app called Shaper, SHAPR. It's basically like the networking business version of Tinder. You read somebody's profile and you look at their photos and you decide if you want to swipe left or right. And Harold and I,
Joe was checking me out. Swipe right on.
We swiped right on each other, and here we are today. So when I met Harold, he was selling windows at the time. So, and are you still selling windows on the side as well, Harold?
Yeah. So. One of my jobs here, of course, is artificial turf landscaping model, and then my other job, it's a full-time gig, is I do window replacements like I was doing in Dallas, Texas, whenever I was there, when I met you initially.
Right. Okay, so you are still taking care of windows in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
So I'm still part-time with the guy over there, and any referrals that my old customers give you, I give it to the owner over there, and I still get a percentage, of course. And then I have a new company here in Las Vegas that I do the exact same thing.
Very cool. Smart. I like to see that you're spreading your tendrils and diversifying your avenues of income. So for those of you who are listening live or on the YouTube channel in the future, if you need windows in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, we've got a contact for you here. So part of my goal in this show here, Harold, is, of course, to shed light on different industries, which you're already doing, which you already kind of piqued my interest. Now I'm halfway sold on artificial turf, and I don't need it. But I also want to provide value for a lot of young listeners who might be looking to find ways to make money. So, considering what a lot of young people are into these days, would you consider window sales to be a viable avenue for a lot of young people these days, and artificial turf sales? And if so, what kind of money could they expect to see in a year from what kind of work?
I mean, I love sales. Sales is the best thing. It's the most rejuvenating, thrilling thing that you can do because it's extremely challenging and you constantly have to be changing. But it's the most rewarding if your skill set is on point. If you sharpen up that sword, like Joe likes to call it. It's a great book that he has.
Thank you for the book shout out.
Of course. So a little bit of a backstory. I started sales retail. I was at Best Buy. I was a 15-year-old, 16-year-old dude that just got into retail sales, learned the ropes on that. It was something that felt so easy to me, but I didn't know there was a full commission avenue in sales. I was just doing the whole working 40 hours a week, getting paid, $15, $16 an hour, and selling the company $300,000 to $500,000 a month, and not really reaping the benefit until I discovered the full commission sales. So it's one of those things where if you are the type of person that you like purely merit-based payment of sort, meaning that you like to reap what you sow type of thing, purely based off skill, sales is the best thing that you can do. And I'm very impulsive. I like instant gratification. That's why sales is so perfect for me, because you know that once you sell that contract, you know exactly what you're getting.
Yeah.
And it's a great amount, and it motivates you to sell even more.
Oh, yeah. I've been there when you start calculating your percentage of a roof sale. Like, all right, just close this deal. That means this much. And, I like that. But if you don't watch yourself, that can be dangerous, too, especially when you get in the habit of, and maybe you haven't done this, but I did this in my younger sales days where I would almost start counting the commission in my head before the sale was closed. Yep. Which would reduce my, I'm not paying full attention now. I'm like sit there mentally spending.
Yeah.
And I'm like, my sales game is faltering because I'm already assuming the sale, which is a rookie move, which I have made more than once probably.
Yeah. And it's interesting, man, because I love studying sales. I love talking to other veteran salesmen. Guys have been doing it since the 70s and 60s. And I'm like, holy cow, you're still going. And most salesmen have pretty common traits about themselves that make them get into sales. Most of them, they like the freedom to do as they please. They like the freedom to make uncapped income in their life.
Yeah, freedom was a big factor for me.
Yeah, freedom was a big factor for me. And usually they're instant gratification. Usually they're very impatient. They like things now. They like to where I know if I go to a lead and I sell it, I'm gonna get paid on it. I know exactly what I'm gonna get paid.
Right. You're not
These
hoping.
people are performance-based individuals. They're not the type of people that like to show up and get paid for doing nothing. They like efficiency. They like pure profit for the company. They don't like to just sit around the desk, dilly-daggy, talk, go to lunch, the typical 9 to 5 gig. They want to make it where it's like, I just want to work and purely focus on that, make the commission, and it's a win-win for the company because they don't have to do for the whole health insurance, benefits, pay for an office. Right now I do in-home sales, which I travel mostly in my car. I basically live in my car, travel all around the Las Vegas metropolitan area,
That's
and I
interesting.
love it because of the freedom, because the instant gratification, and because I get to see immediately my hard work paying off. Versus before, it would be I work my butt off, but I'm making other people money.
Yeah.
That's what I didn't want to do. I wanted to make myself more money simply because of the skill set that I have.
So, in regards to the question at hand, then you would say that artificial turf sales or window sales would be beneficial for someone who wants more freedom, more control of their schedule, and to be able to enjoy a more merit-based atmosphere.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere.
I agree with that.
Honestly, Windows is any type of sales is going to be a huge learning curve. I highly recommend starting out with door knocking or any type of lead generating based type of thing. So if you're going to start out with Windows or Turf, most companies are going to start you out with the lead generating side, the prospecting side, door
Right.
knocking, cold calls, etc.
And that's the
You need
same
to,
thing in the roofing industry for the most part. We start people with like, look, I have leads, but I'm not going to give them to you until you prove that you're not going to fuck my leads up. Like go out and get your own leads and fuck those up, and then when you prove you can handle a lead, then I start putting them on you. That's how I always sort of
yeah,
perceive it. Brandonator says he's good. How about you? Doing mighty fine, Brandonator. Thank you for asking. We're just trying to pick the brain of Harold here, see what value we can bust free from his cranium and share with the rest of the world here. Again, I try to maintain the theme of providing value for our people as we get to know you and your industry. So let's say
of
we've
course.
got a few young people here who are considering going into sales. Maybe they've tried it. Maybe they think they're good at it. What would be some good starting points, tips, tricks, materials? Like what's something you would point a rookie salesman to?
Most of sales is communication, understanding people. It is literally, you need to dive deep into the psychology of people, dive deep into why people buy, understand how consumers think. Look at other companies like Apple. Why do people want to buy Apple? Why do people want to buy Mercedes, et cetera, et cetera? So you need to work on your communication skills. I recommend Toastmasters. Go to Toastmasters. Work on your
Hmm.
public speaking skills because you are public speaking if you're doing in-home sales or door knocking. It is a form of public speaking. You knock on the door, the customer opens up, you perform a presentation to them and try to create some sort of interest. Now, if you don't understand tonality, tempo,
Mm-hmm.
word usage, your language is not very large, then you need to work on your language. Read more books, watch other salesmen speak, do Toastmasters classes, etc. Because that's the first basis of it, is learning the rhythm and flow of how you should speak and build rapport with people, being able to communicate well, being able to listen to certain cues, understanding social dynamics so you can read people really well. And once you understand those basic fundamentals of how to speak your mind clearly, concisely, well, then that's when you're in the right path to persuasion, to closing, to pain points, to understanding people, building that empathy. I think that's the most important basis of that is that being able to be really good with people and communicate well with them.
That's a great point with the practice, just communicate, and a lot of that communication is listening. Really listen to your client and what their needs are.
Agreed. A Stephen Covey quote comes to mind: "Seek first to understand, and then to be understood." And we have too many people who, and I've probably been guilty of it myself in my younger salesman days. I'm sure many of our listeners have been guilty of it, but even politely waiting for your turn to speak, but you're not truly actively listening. You're just waiting for the person to shut up so you can say what you want to say, instead of committing your mental faculties to trying to penetrate the mind of another and figure out what they're thinking, where their mind's at, how they're feeling. And you brought up persuasion. You can't truly persuade somebody unless you're at least somewhat in their head, and you can't get in somebody else's head unless you're willing to get out of your own a little bit. And I think persuasion is one of the most underrated and potent skills to have in your arsenal. If there's something you can't do, you can potentially persuade somebody else to do it. Persuade people into seeing things your way. Persuade people into helping you in a time of need. Persuade people as to why your product is superior to the competition.
Exactly. And what you're doing when you're communicating with, having the references of communicating with multiple people, public speaking, shaving down that fear, handling pressure well, being able to control pressure. That's what you're cultivating when you communicate well, because I know some people that they're terrified of just simply giving eye contact, trying to sell something. They get really uncomfortable because it is in a form sometimes very uncomfortable for some people, and they have a huge learning curve with it, especially people that are overly polite and see as being pushy as disrespectful or rude. Putting that pressure onto people, that's a form of closing and persuading. It's needed, but it's all rooted in that anxiety and fear that people have just simply by communicating and public speaking, for example. So that's why I say, if you can public speak and go to Toastmasters to 30 to 40 to 50 people and speak there, then a wife and a husband will be much easier for you.
Agreed. And one of the things I think is important to keep in mind is that it's a skill like any other. I know a lot of people think it means I'm a type of person. I'm just not a public speaker. I'm not a sales type. It's like, well, it's a skill. Maybe you're not naturally great at it. I wasn't really naturally great at it. Do a little study, a little practice, have somebody better than me give me some pointers and some feedback. Practice, fail, learn, implement, fail, learn, implement, fail, learn, implement, fail, until I get something right.
Yep.
And I think part of what you're bringing up ties into a lot of the negative stigma of salespeople, because something I learned is that there are times where you need to be pushy for someone's own good. And that seems bizarre to say unless you're initiated. But to use the example of the first serious sales industry I was in, roofing, there are times where I'd meet people and their roofs are fucked up. Missing shingles, the underlayment is compromised, I can see swelling, I can feel soft decking. I mean, they're obviously taking on water, but they're stubborn and saying, I don't need any roof or roof repairs. And, if I'm being polite, I could do them the disservice of leaving them without a solution. Of saying, okay, well, I don't want to push. I don't want to be a pushy salesman, so let me just back off and call me when you're ready. Well, some people, they need a push. Some people will wait until their ceiling is falling in on their children. Mm-hmm. I've seriously seen cases of people letting their roofs go until it's a danger to their children. And so sometimes it helps to be persuasive and a little pushy and say, look, you are in a danger zone. I know you think you can squeeze a year or two more, but in that year or two, you're going to see serious issues. So at times, we do need to be pushy for the good of our potential clients, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's honestly a mindset that you need to reframe, that people think that you're being pushy or disrespectful or rude. A good analogy, I think, would be like, let's say you have a family member that they're doing something that's basically affecting their health. So maybe they're drinking excessively, they're doing drugs, etc. And they tell you, yeah, I'm happy and content, so I like doing this, etc., etc. Are you going to be a pushover and say, yeah, continue doing drugs and drinking, you're perfectly fine? Are you going to be really passionate to help that individual out, your family, your loved one, because they are killing themselves? It's a different approach. Instead of you have to view everything as you assisting that individual. They don't know what's good for them. And sometimes the conviction and passion that you have by continuing to push, the customer will change their mind, because it's either the customer sells you on that they don't need it, or
Mm-hmm.
you sell them. So someone's
Exactly.
getting sold in the interaction.
Yeah. And
That's really what it is. And it's honestly, when you lack the conviction and belief that they really need it, then their belief that they really don't need it will overcome that, and you'll sell out. You'll
you'll
fold.
fold.
You'll say,
Yeah.
"Fine, I guess they don't need it."
And
You know?
on that point you're bringing up, I suppose it's worth mentioning for young potential salespeople considering getting in the field at some point, is it's important to make sure that you're aligning yourself with a company whose values you believe in, and a product that you genuine. For me, it's important that the product is something people genuinely need. I don't want to sell bullshit. I don't want to sell snake oil. I don't want to take advantage of people. I don't want to push things upon people that they don't need. If it's not if it's not solving a problem or benefiting their life or adding value or creating joy, I don't want to sell it, because that's against my personal ethics. There's enough people out there selling nonsense. I don't need to be one of them.
Yeah, I mean that's like the one of the definitely the basic fundamentals is that whatever you are selling, you need to be able to say, I would buy this myself. I see the value in buying this, and here's the list of the reasons why it helps me, because then you can have empathy to understand why consumers want it. You have to analyze, reverse engineer why you would buy things. And that's what I started out doing. I used to say, why do I like buying Nike shoes? Why do I like watching this particular television show? Why do I like eating a certain spot? And I would analyze those things and find what probes the interest for me to buy those things. And that puts me in the consumer's mind and puts me in their head, because I know what they need to hear. I know why they're buying that particular item. And there's multiple different reasons why people buy. And you'll start to read those cues as you start going when you start selling. But that's a very good starting point, is if you're a beginner salesman, ask yourself why you buy the clothes that you have, why you have your phone that you have. Maybe it's an iPhone, maybe it's an Android. Why you have the television that you have, why you have the car that you have. You were sold all those things. All those things were sold to you. You bought that. Someone sold that to you. You need to analyze why you bought that, so you start to understand the psychology of persuasion, of value, of being closed and being able to close other people.
Now, since we're continuing the theme of potential young newbie salesmen, what books or audiobooks would you recommend if you young salesmen start with?
Oh, man.
No, we could write essays on that. Just give me a few off the top of your head.
Honestly, initially I don't recommend sales books. I understand. I would recommend books on raising EQ and building more empathy for people. Understanding communication skills is key. Influence of books, How to Win Friends and Influence People, very old school books. The
That's a
7
classic.
Habits of Highly Effective People, very, very solid book.
7 Habits, love it.
Let me see, I got some more books here in my Audible. That's pretty solid. Emotional Intelligence, The Mastery Bible. That's a phenomenal book. Influence by Robert B. Cialdini. Phenomenal book.
I haven't read that one.
Yeah, it's a great book. The 10 Commandments of Negotiation by Stephen Arnio. Really, anything to help you have more empathy and understand people more. You need to. That's like the fundamental basis before you do the sales tactics and the scripts. You need to work on your communication and language and understand people, because it is a people's game.
Agreed.
People won't buy from someone they don't trust. So you need to learn how to build trust, build rapport. Why people build rapport? What can you do to be a more approachable, easygoing guy? Understanding body language, understand the psychology of what you're communicating that breaks rapport. Because, for example, even the tonality of how you speak can naturally break rapport without you even noticing it.
Yeah.
Eye contact, proximity, usage of hands. all these things, they are micro things that influence the way people perceive you. And you need to be fully aware, fully in control of that. If not, you'll wonder why it's not working. Because the scripts and all that stuff will not work if you don't have your body language on point.
Yeah, exactly.
If you don't understand people.
That's something a lot of young salespeople need to realize, that you can have the best, well-written script in the world, but if you're reading it like a monotonous, monotone robot, like you don't care with no inflection, you're far less likely to get deals than someone who is getting excited and using their hands and smiling big and like getting fired up about the procedure there. And someone who's more more amped up is far more likely to close more deals, to have a higher closing ratio. So a few books, resources that Harold mentioned for rookie salespeople: 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, How to Win Friends, Influence People, classic books, Influence, the 10 Commandments of Negotiation. Is that what you said?
Yep.
Okay.
Emotional Intelligence by Brandon Cooper.
Emotional Intelligence
by Brandon
Cooper.
Edition.
Now, let's continue on the thread with resources for fledgling salespeople. What apps or websites or anything do you think that you just fucking love that a young fledgling sales rep is foolish to not have?
All right, say that one more time. I'm sorry.
Like any apps or websites or online resources that you think are amazing that any young salesperson should absolutely have in their arsenal.
I'm really big on, if you're driving, use that time effectively. Download the app Audible.
Mm-hmm.
Read these books. Just start reading the books. You don't need to like overly focus on if you're like understanding the book, but just start analyzing the word usage, the flow, the language, the tonality of how that person is reading that book. If you don't know a word, Google it. Start understanding. Raise your library of word usage. Trust me, it'll change your game drastically.
For sure.
And then read these books as you go. Whenever you're in a, for example, in traffic stop. Traffic. I know there's plenty of traffic in DFW.
Yeah, right. A shortage of opportunities to enjoy some books there. So Audible, Harold says that Audible is a fantastic resource to enrich your knowledge of psychology, philosophy, communication. As you're probably picking up, communication has been a big recurring theme in what Harold is sharing with us here today. So obviously it's a very important topic to pontificate upon. Harold, sorry, what was that?
I said YouTube, of course. YouTube's always a good platform. It's huge, it's insanely big with an insane amount of information on there.
YouTube is so potent, man. It's crazy. So much good stuff for free on there. Mm-hmm. How would you say that your military experience has benefited or maybe negatively impacted, if possible, your sales career?
Military taught me the art of discipline and attention to detail.
Mm-hmm.
And also to come off extremely professional and punctual with everything. It just sharpened my discipline side. Showing 15 minutes early, 20 minutes early to every appointment was a standard. If I was not that early, same as the military, you were considered late. Being professional, understanding how to be formal, how to come off professional, and people see me differently because in the military, everything is military bearing, which is a form of mannerisms that you act like and present yourself to make sure that when you wear a uniform, you look almost perfect. There is no unprofessionalism. There is no unethical behaviors. There's nothing in regards to making sure the military looks bad, for example, or any behaviors that you do to make the military look bad. So they're really big on presentation and mannerisms and demeanor. So a lot of people, whenever they meet me, they know immediately that they you are, very professional. You present yourself very well. You show up 15, 20 minutes early. And then the attention to detail aspect is I use that in everything. The attention to detail to how the customer reacts, what I'm saying, how I'm saying it, the timing of it. And I literally analyze every single situation and type of customer, type of demographic, type of income, etc. I break that down because each and every one of those has different pain points, different reactions to different things that I say. So that's really helped me out. Now, the military is extremely professional and can be kind of cold in a sense, right? Because I don't know if you guys ever met somebody that they put the front, they're extremely professional, but they have that front. It's like, all right, I know you're putting an act, I know you're acting this way because we're at a professional environment, maybe like a corporate event, etc. But sometimes, that can be intimidating for some people. While it does present yourself as a trustworthy person, it doesn't build as much rapport with the customer on a friendly basis. If that makes sense?
Yeah, I get what you
Does that
mean.
make sense a little bit?
You got to learn to find the balance there.
Yeah, a balance of like being casual. You don't have to be this perfect guy that seems to not have a heart and soul. That doesn't show emotions, because in the military, showing emotions is weak. Showing emotions is not good. So in sales, being emotional, being passionate is good. So it's that balance of professionalism and showing that emotion to impact people more and connect with them more.
Yeah, I think it's like shifting between modes at the appropriate moment. And part of the challenge is knowing when to engage what mode. Is it time to be the authoritative professional, or is it time to be the fellow human who laughs at the same things you laugh at, pal? Ha ha.
Exactly. Exactly.
So what
So
are your...
that's kind of how it helped me out, and how it didn't help me out. It mostly helped me out. Now,
Do we lose you, Harold?
Nope. I said, can you guys hear me?
Oh, we can now. I just thought you were building the suspense for a moment.
Oh, no. Yeah, most of the experience helped me out. It was a phenomenal experience. I did 4 years and out. If anybody lacks any type of discipline in their life and wants to travel for free, join the military. It's the best thing you can do for yourself.
That's a true factor there, too. And it seems like there's a lot of benefits from it. All right, so we've kind of gotten an overview of your background, where you came from, where you're at currently with the sales in Las Vegas. What's the future hold for Harold, man? Do you have any long-term plans? Any businesses on the horizon? Side projects you want to talk about? Investments? Like what's on the future for you now?
So yeah, here in Las Vegas, Airbnb is insane.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally an amazing industry because this is the capital for the most tourists to come and swing by from all around the world.
I imagine.
The Strip is insane. It's a playground for adults. Like the more that I am here.
For naughty adults.
Everything is entertainment. Everything is what's the word I'm looking for? Everything is basically to keep your attention, to make you happy, to live in the moment, to celebrate life, etc., etc.
Very Epicurean.
So that basically cultivates a lot of people coming by, to spend money, to gamble, etc. So Airbnb here is insane. It's a huge business. So they had whenever the market crash happened in about 07, 08, Vegas got hit the worst in the U.S.
Really?
Because literally entertainment drastically declined because people didn't have any money. People were in the, I got to save money. I got to be
expendable income.
Etc. Because Vegas is one of those spots where I'm going to blow money.
Yeah.
Seems
like there's very little necessity to be had in the Strip.
Exactly. This is a luxury. Most of the things here are not necessities at all.
Yeah.
So whenever the market crash hit, this is the industry for Las Vegas. It's always been that way. It's kind of changing as Californians are coming in. There's Google and Amazon coming in, etc. But in 08, 07, when it crashed, people lost their jobs. All the big giant casinos here were like, yeah, no one's coming. Everyone's laid off. Everything was closed. So houses were starting to get, people are losing their homes because they were losing their jobs. So the market here, there are plenty of homes where the banks took over the homes and they were doing a bunch of short sales. So there are people here that literally were buying homes with giant pools, large yard, 3-story house. For like 150, 120.
Jeez.
For a house, multiple homes.
Scooping them up.
Yeah, they were scooping them up. It was you know, a landmine for people to come here. I always ask customers about how long they lived there and their story of how they got the place, and majority of them underpaid what that house was worth. And whenever they did buy it, because the economy is doing well, Californians are coming in, their house is triple to quadruple the value what it was when they bought it. You know, they're getting that return of the investment, which is phenomenal. So there's still plenty of nuggets like that here in Vegas that I want to get into. Is starting homes, doing short sales, and of course doing Airbnb.
So
That's my long-term goal.
So part of your long-term plan is to purchase multiple single-family real estate?
Yes.
Gotcha. What's the time frame for your first purchase?
Time frame, I say within the next year.
Exciting.
Very
2020.
Very exciting. You got an area in mind, or you just kind of open to whatever's in the metroplex there?
Yeah, there's always particular areas. You know, Vegas is one of the only cities where the north side of the city is the ghetto side. The south side of Vegas is like Highland Park for Dallas.
Yeah, that's
It's
funny.
so weird. It throws me off. Like, you
That's
go to the
funny.
north side and then you see like low income houses. It's kind of ghetto. There's more home invasions that happen there. But if you go southwest, southeast, south, oh my gosh, these houses are premium luxury homes, and it's much safer. So North Las Vegas is known for more, delinquent activities, people doing carjacks, home invasions. Because the thing about Vegas is that the home invasions here are insane. It happens very frequently. So people have
Jeez.
a lot of cameras all around their house. You know, a lot of people own guns, etc.
Right.
But in the south side, it's polar opposite. It's much safer. It's more of a family environment. Because anything close to the strip is more of a party environment. It's not that serious.
Right,
It's
of course.
not very safe. It's low income.
Okay.
It's really unusual city. But yeah, there's plenty of opportunities here.
So a lot of real estate opportunity, and part of your plan for the future is to get in on it then.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
So what is a day in the life like of the traveling artificial turf salesman? Just kind of give us an idea of what the day is like.
So I go to bed early. I'm 20,
Smart
I
man.
go to bed early. I don't. Everyone's like
Thanks, sir.
assuming because I moved to Vegas that I'm like going out every single night, doing all kinds of drugs, and I'm like, you know, with all these girls and yada yada yada. I'm like, no, I'm not doing any of that. This market is phenomenal for people that are professionals and are ethical. This market
Hey, your
here
sound
is-
quality just dropped.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but it's very faint.
Uh-oh.
Am I good now?
A little better, but still off.
What happened?
I don't know.
Let me see here.
It's that Russian interference we were talking about.
The Russian Putin. All right, am I good now? Or,
Yes, that's better.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's better.
Okay. What I was saying is that when I first moved here, I didn't know anything about Vegas, but as time went on, I've been here for almost a year now. Vegas is a phenomenal market for those that are
Thank you.
professionals and ethical because there are so many sleazy, unethical behaviors here. It's insane. It's just known that Vegas is a very deceitful place.
Yeah,
So-
the city of sin not have upstanding professionals?
Exactly. You would think that it was polar opposite, but since there's so much greed and the industry itself it's all about that instant gratification of these guys that just do unethical, sleazy things to basically get money from you or get something from you. Anyway, so I digress. Let me go back to what I do. So I don't party. I don't drink. I don't do anything like that. I see that Vegas is a phenomenal opportunity for me. There's plenty of money here. There's a lot of opportunity. There's infinite opportunity. So I want to leverage that timeline that I have being here. You know, and I'm 25. I got plenty of energy, and I can easily waste that energy with drinking, doing drugs, and being with the girls and going out clubbing, yada yada yada. But I rather use my energy now to work my butt off, wake up nice and early, 5, 6 in the morning, go to bed at 7 p.m., 8 p.m. Sometimes I go down later if I'm still running leads. So I wake up early, 7 a.m., 8 a.m. every single day. The sunlight rises pretty early here. Because there's not that much clouds, there's never clouds here. The sun is extremely bright. It's the brightest anywhere in the U.S. I don't know why. So when that thing hits you at 5 a.m., 5:30, it's like a natural alarm clock. I'm like, man, this is insane. It's not like that simmer, dark, cloudy, gloomy. Sometimes days that you have in Dallas where you're just like, I want to stay in and sleep. It's not motivating me. It's polar opposite here. I don't remember seeing a cloud here in like the past 2-3 months. It rarely gets cloudy. It's just clear skies and the sun is smacking you right in the face. So I leverage that. I wake up nice 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning when the sun hits me, get my breakfast. Usually I organize my leads that I have from both companies. I on average run 7 to 8 leads a day every single day. And I do that 7 days a week.
So
and that's sometimes as early as 8 a.m., 7 a.m. to as late as 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. driving all around the metropolitan.
So 7 to 8 appointments per day.
Yes.
Awesome.
That is awesome.
Yep. So
keeping you busy.
Extremely busy. Yeah. And it's great. I love it because, there is a portion of sales that it is a numbers game. A portion of it. There's a percentage of it that definitely is the consistency of doing it, find the people that really need it, etc. So I'm like, you know what? Why just do one job that supplies me, 2-3 leads a day when I can just use my time more wisely, even though it is extremely difficult. I don't recommend it because you have no life. You literally, my social life with my friends is non-existent. I haven't had a day off again, like I said, in about 3 months. And I love it. I'm going through that immersion period through myself, and I've learned an insane amount of things in sales. My closing percentage is going up. So it's one of those things that I'm going through the immersion process of my life where I'm trying to perfect and master the art of closing, the art of in-home sales, the art of closing these particular things in these particular industries. And that's one of those things where it's like, I can easily do this and do it casually, 2 to 3 leads a day. And my learning curve, I'll get it, but the timeline I get to that point is going to be longer. So it may take me 5 years to get to the point that I want versus if I do double the work, if not triple,
mm-hmm.
and go through a state of immersion, I can cut that to 2 years, 2.5 years, maybe 1 year. Yeah. Working every single day. So why not do that? I'd rather use my time effectively and efficiently, doing the right things that make me happy. It's a challenge. It's not for everybody. Some people, most people don't want to do the lifestyle that I have.
Hey, we got Bang Dust in here. Bang Dust, good to see you in here today. He said, is it big brain businessman time? Yes, we are currently in big brain business time man mode, but there might be some video game time later. We'll see how it goes.
Big brain business time.
Yeah. You know how this channel does, buddy. We switch back and forth, We switch back and forth. We're just chatting with Harold here, catching us up to speed on the day in the life of a artificial turf and window salesman. And tell us about your other project, Millennial Empowerment. Harold also has a YouTube channel with nearly 1,000 subscribers called Millennial Empowerment, which when this video is on YouTube, I will have the link down below so you can check his YouTube channel out. Harold, tell us what's going on with Millennial Empowerment.
So I started that channel about 3 years ago. I was really immersed in that pretty hardcore when I first started. I liked the ability to create some sort of content and entertain people. Mm-hmm. And I was really into deep psychology, sociology, and philosophy at that time in my life. I was studying, traveling, going to a bunch of seminars, mentors, etc. And just going into that deep dive introspection of the meaning of life, the meaning of me, the meaning of why things are the way they are. Mm-hmm. So, I started diving deep into the philosophy stuff and putting 2 and 2 things together and what I've gone through and the things that I've studied and just sharing the story of that. As a millennial, Because as people say, millennials this, millennials that, are different than the baby boomers, et cetera, they do have a bad rep, and there are legitimate bad things that my generation has because of the natural things we were born to, right? Like technology, social media, the Facebook, political correctness, etc. All these things that have changed the way our parents were raised, where knocking on Tommy's door next door to see if he's home to play was a normal thing. Versus now, let's do a phone call conveniently on my couch while I eat potato chips to say, hey, Tommy, let's play some Xbox. It's different now.
Yeah.
But those things, while it is different, it affects the work ethic. It affects people's philosophies, how people act the way they do. It affects people's self-esteem. There is a psychology and a pros and cons to these things, efficient not efficient, convenient things that we have now in our lives. Because right now we live in an area of convenience. Everything is convenience. I don't want to go to McDonald's to get me a burger, so why not just use Grubhub and they can deliver it here? It's less human interaction, less communication, and more just convenience and luxury of less work and more, quote unquote, some people call it working smarter versus harder.
Mm-hmm.
I know me and Joy had this conversation before. And just listing on those pros and cons of that stuff, and living the lifestyle of trying to understand the previous eras. Because I love talking to older men and women, 50s, 60s, and 70s. I like picking their brain of why they are the way they are.
So is that some of the stuff you do in millennial empowerment, is interview older people?
No, I'm saying that's where I get a lot of my insights and info that I have now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's more or less my research stage to create more content, so millennials can understand generations of why they are in the point of their life now. For example, like how we got to this point, this era, the sacrifices.
Just to clarify, what kind of content we're talking about here? Like, what kind of videos do you have on there? Like, give me a few names of the names of the videos.
Say that again.
Like, what kind of videos do you have on there? Just to be clear on what kind of content someone could expect to see on your channel. Like, what are some of your top videos you have on there about?
A lot of it is, like, I have one video that's like insights for friends that are poisonous, that are not going to be helping you out, that are unproductive. Understanding friends that are going to be supporting you, the types of friends that you should have in your life. So it's just a lifestyle thing and motivation for millennials and their issues that they have now.
So kind of some life wisdom.
Yes, in a sense. And the insight of my research, my things that I'm going through, and just sharing those epiphanies with millennials like myself. Because, most millennials don't appreciate the whole, millennials are lazy, they're not working hard, etc. Well, I want to analyze those things and say, okay, there's a reason why this is happening. And millennials, as me being a millennial, I am the person that's not living into that status quo, that stereotype of being lazy and not smart and showing up late to, being entitled, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm trying to prove millennials wrong, that they think that they have it different or worse, and I'm making other people. I lost my train of thought here.
I'm picking up what you're putting down. You're trying to empower millennials, hence the name Millennial Empowerment.
Yes.
To try and dispel some of their own harmful notions.
Yes.
While lifting them up to a degree and maybe calling a few things out. Am I picking this up right?
Yep. That's a general gist of it is
okay.
that just general lifestyle stuff and issues that millennials have. Like for example, I'm really passionate about why, for example, the suicide rate in our era in millennials is drastically much higher than any other era in the past. There is a reason behind that. People are empty. There's less sentiment. They need supports. Instead of just pointing the finger and saying, "Oh, that's how you are. You're lazy," blah blah blah, and not help them out. They need support. They need guidance. They need more understanding.
Have you observed any Simon Sinek material?
Simon Sinek, who is that?
Simon Sinek. He covers a lot of material. I'll shoot you a link after after we wrap up here. He covers a lot of material on millennials as well, on how to, and he does a lot of what you're describing. I actually wondered if you were a fan from listening to you talk here, because he kind of calls them out on some stuff, but also dispels some untrue things people negatively say about millennials and tries to empower them to a degree as well. I'll shoot you he went viral for this talk specifically about millennials and his books. He's got some other good, really good content as well, like The Infinite Game, things of that nature. But I'll shoot you some Simon Sinek material. He's definitely in line with what you're trying to do with millennial empowerment. And on the note of your channel, Millennial Empowerment, what are some upcoming videos viewers might expect to see from you?
So I'm probably going to start vlogging my journey of literally not having any days off for the past 3 months. I think that's pretty valuable to say, listen, bro, you have no excuse. You're in your 20s, more than likely. You have plenty of work ethic. There is no excuse, and just vlog that. And vlog the struggles. Vlog me being exhausted and not wanting to work and what mindsets I have on that. So people can connect with it.
So we could expect to see vlog updates in the life of a salesman pushing himself to speed up achieving his goals.
Yep, day-to-day life of a millennial salesman. Because
very cool.
There's not many salesmen that are millennials. Most salesmen are in their 35, 40, 45s. Most of the guys that I work with, I'm the youngest guy there. It's insane.
Yeah, there's definitely some good content that I can refer you that kind of focuses on young people and millennials. Like, have you watched the Graham Stephan channel?
Yeah, send me that one too.
Yeah, that's good stuff. That's some good stuff there. All right, we're encroaching on an hour here. I know Harold's got appointments. He wanted to make sure we didn't speed past the hour here. So let's wrap this thing up. Again, we have Harold Tavarez on the line with us here today. I will be putting the link to his channel, Millennial Empowerment, down below. If you need artificial turf in the Las Vegas Metroplex, he's your guy. If you need windows in the Las Vegas Metroplex or the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, he's also your guy. You can find him in my Discord channel, which is always available in our link tree and links below as well. So be sure to hit us up on that. Likes, comments, subscriptions always fire me up to create better and better content for you guys. So don't be shy to like, comment, and subscribe. Always appreciated. Noemi, dearest, appreciate you having my back and keeping an eye on me and keeping my teacup full here. Harold, I appreciate you making the time to finally put our heads together here, share some information, and I look forward to seeing what Millennial Empowerment has for us down the line.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. And if anyone has any questions, you can feel free to ask me and send me a DM on there, or you can also check out my YouTube channel to subscribe.